Breaking news from the NFL. The Las Vegas Raiders have just made a huge move. They've officially given superstar pass rusher Maxx Crosby a brand new contract extension. For months, we've been hearing that Crosby wanted a new deal. He made it clear that his contract didn't have any guaranteed money left, and he needed the Raiders to step up. Well, they finally did. According to reports, the Raiders have signed Crosby to a 3-year, $16.5 million extension, with a massive $91.5 million guaranteed. This deal makes him the highest-paid non-quarterback in NFL history. That's a big statement from the Raiders, showing just how much they value him. And honestly, he deserves it. Crosby isn't just another player chasing a paycheck. He's one of the hardest-working guys in the league. While some players just go through the motions, Crosby is different. He wants to be great. He wants his name to be remembered in football history. His talent is undeniable. His speed, technique, and relentless energy on the field make him a nightmare for any offense. Players like him don't come around often. Now, let's break down this contract. The extension means he'll be making $35.5 million per year for those extra 3 years. But remember, Crosby was already under contract for 2025 and 2026. This new deal doesn't replace that. It just adds on to it. Of course, this kind of money comes with a big cap hit, but that won't kick in until 2027, 2028, and 2029. So, let's clear something up. This isn't happening overnight. Maxx Crosby's new contract won't fully kick in this year. Right now, he'll count $27.9 million against the cap, and next year, it drops to $24 million. But here's where things get interesting. The Raiders have options. They don't have to wait until those 3 extra years to start shifting the numbers around. They could move $5 million into this year, maybe $10 million into next year. That would make the later years much easier. Instead of $35 million per year, it could be closer to $30 million. And here's another thing. The salary cap keeps going up. Every year, it rises by $20 to $30 million, which means by the time those big payouts come, the Raiders will have plenty of breathing room. What does this all mean? It's a win-win. This deal locks in Crosby for the next 5 years. By the time it ends, he'll be 32 or 33, which means there's a real chance he'll finish his career in silver and black. And honestly, that's exactly where he belongs. Crosby isn't just an elite player. He makes everyone around him better. Look at what happened with guys like K'Lavon Chaisson. He struggled so much that the Panthers didn't even want him. But after coming to the Raiders and working alongside Crosby, his game improved. Same story with Malcolm Kuntze. Same with Adam Butler. Crosby's presence isn't just about sacks and tackles. He's a leader. And as new players come in, maybe someone like James Pierce or Mike Green in the draft, Crosby is going to help them grow too, and that's what makes this contract so smart. Sure, people see the $35.5 million per year and think it's a huge number, but considering his impact, leadership, and the flexibility the Raiders still have? Now, let's talk about the big picture. Maxx Crosby's last contract was already a steal compared to what other players got later, and because he signed that deal early, his cap hits have remained relatively low. That's huge for the Raiders, but here's the real question. What's next? The Raiders have to win while Crosby is still in his prime. They've got 5 years to make a serious push. No more waiting around. No more, let's develop a rookie quarterback for a few years. This team is going all in. Now, who will be under center? That's the big debate. Could it be Aaron Rodgers? Maybe. Could it be Sam Darnold on a short-term deal? Possibly. The Raiders are going to make moves, and they have to do it now. Of course, in the process, they're going to lose some players. That's just how the NFL works. Malcolm Kuntz, Trayvon Moehrig, Nate Hobbs, Robert Spillane, some of them may leave. Some may stay. The front office is already working on deals, but one thing is for sure. Maxx Crosby isn't going anywhere. And speaking of roster moves, the Raiders just signed Alex Kappa. Now, this signing is interesting. A few years ago, Kappa was playing at a Pro Bowl level. Solid, reliable, a force on the offensive line. But last season? It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. He allowed 55 pressures, 8 or 9 sacks, and 10 quarterback hits. He just couldn't hold up. Some people say it's because of an injury he suffered in 2022. But 2 years later, can we really say that's the reason? Or is it something else? The Raiders clearly see something in him. Maybe they believe he can bounce back. Maybe they have a specific plan for him. But if he's getting guaranteed money, that means they expect him to start. This is just the beginning. More moves are coming. More decisions will be made. And the Raiders, they're running out of time to get it right. Let's break this down. Alex Kappa showed promise early in his career. He peaked around 25 or 26 years old, but then injuries hit, and his performance started to dip. We've seen this before. It happened with guys like Cody Whitehair and plenty of others across the NFL. Some players shined for a few seasons, then never quite returned to their peak form. Now, here's what the Raiders are thinking with this signing. Kappa's contract is reportedly a 2-year deal worth $11 million, with $5 million guaranteed. What does that tell us? It means the Raiders are taking a calculated risk. They believe Kappa has a shot at winning a starting job, either beating out Dylan Parham, Cody Whitehair, or Jordan Meredith. Worst case? He struggles, he's a backup, and the team loses out on just $5 million. Best case? He returns to his 2020 to 2021 form, becomes a solid starter, and gives the Raiders 2 years of quality play at a bargain price. Sounds familiar? That's because it's the same move the Raiders made with Cody Whitehair. Low risk, potential upside. But here's what's really interesting. The Raiders aren't stopping here. Free agency's about to kick off, and all signs point to them targeting a guard in the draft. Maybe in the 2nd or 3rd round. They're looking for a physical, dominant lineman, someone who can bully defenders and move people off the ball. Names like Anthony Belton, Charles Grant, and Kevin Jenkins could be in play. These guys bring size, toughness, and raw power. Exactly what the Raiders need to reshape their offensive line. And let's not forget about Dylan Parham. He's heading into the final year of his deal, and his spot isn't guaranteed. If the Raiders aren't sold on him, they could trade him for a late-round pick or even cut him. So, what's the plan? Kappa is a gamble. If he works out, great. If not, they move on. The draft is key. Expect the Raiders to grab a young, powerful guard to develop. The offensive line is still shifting. DJ Glaze could be the answer at right tackle, and other moves are still coming. Bottom line, the Raiders aren't done yet. The next few weeks are going to be crucial. Stay tuned, because this roster is far from set. Now, let's talk about a big name that just hit the trade market, DK Metcalf. The star wide receiver has officially requested a trade. And if you're the Raiders, this is a move you have to consider. Here's why. Right now, the Raiders need an X-wide receiver, someone who can dominate physically, beat press coverage, and demand double teams. Think of guys like Justin Jefferson or Davante Adams, elite route runners who create separation. Now, DK Metcalf isn't exactly that type of receiver, but for the Raiders, he could be a true number one. One weapon. Imagine this, Metcalf on the outside drawing attention from defenses, Jacoby Myers playing opposite him, creating balance, Trey Tucker stretching the field with speed, Brock Bowers controlling the middle of the field. That's an offense that could seriously stress opposing defenses. But here's the big question. What would it take to land Metcalf? He has 1 year left on his contract, so any team trading for him will need to offer an extension. Seattle won't let him go for nothing, but the price might not be outrageous. A 3rd or 4th round pick could be enough to make the deal happen. Age and contracts matter in trades. Even great players don't always get huge returns. Look at what happened with Davante Adams. He was straight up released because of his age and contract. So, should the Raiders make a move? It all depends on whether they see Metcalf as the missing piece. If they believe he can transform their offense, then this is an opportunity too good to ignore. The next few weeks are going to be very interesting. Will the Raiders go all in on a trade? Or will they look elsewhere for firepower? All right, let's break this down. What would it actually take to bring DK Metcalf to the Raiders? Seattle might say, hey, we'll take Michael Mayer plus a fourth-round pick and we'll send you Metcalf. That kind of deal makes sense for both teams. The Seahawks get a young tight end on a rookie contract with serious upside. The Raiders get a proven wide receiver to give their offense a serious boost. Now, let's be real. DK Metcalf isn't going to fetch multiple first-round picks. He's already on his second contract. He's got just 1 year left before needing an extension. And he's officially requested a trade, which lowers Seattle's leverage. So, don't expect a blockbuster return. But could another team overpay? Maybe. Now, here's another name in the mix, Tyler Lockett. Seattle just released him, making him a free agent. And guess what? He's been one of the most consistent receivers in the league. He's a veteran who knows how to get open, and he could be a great fit for the Raiders. Now imagine this. DK Metcalf and Jacoby Myers on the outside. Tyler Lockett in the slot. Brock Bowers controlling the middle. That's an offense that can do serious damage. But here's the catch. Does the salary cap allow it? If Metcalf wants $22 million a year and Lockett costs around $8 to $12 million, that's a big price tag. The Raiders would need to make some moves to fit both in. So, is it realistic? Maybe not. But is it exciting to think about? Absolutely. At the end of the day, the Raiders need playmakers. Whether it's Metcalf, Lockett, or someone else, they can't afford to go into next season without adding firepower. Stay locked in, because big moves could be coming soon.